Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel, and welcome to my 50th ever YouTube video on this channel. It's amazing. I guess I'm here to stay. I've been at this 3.5 months now. I just double checked the date. My first video was December 14th of 2018. And you know what? This is my favorite hobby that I've ever had. I have a lot of fun making these videos, and so my channel's still very small, and maybe it always will be. I think I got a little over 130 subscribers right now, but it's too fun to not do. You know, I first thought of starting my YouTube channel. I guess it's towards the end of 2017. I had only been in crypto for like maybe 6 weeks or so, and then I bought a microphone, but I never pulled the trigger on it because I was like, I don't want to be one of those guys where I just start something and then I find out my heart's not really in it and then I just stop. And so I waited almost a whole nother year before I even launched my video, and that's why it was, again, December 14th. That's when I launched my first YouTube video out there. And I was pretty darn confident at that point. I was like, okay, I really want to do this. And so having done this now for 3.5 months, and it's like a labor of love type of thing, because it actually does take a lot of time. I mean, you may see like a 10 or 15 minute video from me, or whatever they are, but a lot of times that can take over an hour, because luckily, again, I'm legitimately into this, but you actually have to read and research, because I never want to go and talk about something if I haven't read what I'm talking about at a bare minimum, and then I'll just share my points of view on it. Because I'm not a pro, like, to me, this is my way of participating with mostly the XRP community, anyone in crypto really, but in particular people in the XRP community, because that's where my interest just happens to lie. That's where I see the most real world adoption of crypto occurring, is with the use of XRP, and a lot of that has to do with what Ripple's doing to build on the XRP ledger, and there are a lot of other developers talked about. Of course, there's R3 and Omni and Coil and all that stuff, and then there's the XRP Tipbot by Wheats and Wind, and so there's all sorts of cool stuff going on, and I just happen to love it. And so at some point, what I've been thinking about is, and I don't know exactly when I'm going to do this, but I'm going to set up a little home studio for myself, I think, and I'm going to get a camera and actually show my rather handsome face so that you all can enjoy that as I'm talking in each video. I think back to when I started watching XRP YouTubers back in the end of 2017, and the videos that always captured my attention the most, the ones I was most likely to stay on, are the ones where it was an actual video of like a human. Anytime I'd click on it, it just showed a screen, which is admittedly what my videos are now. It was kind of a turnoff, and I ended up, being in the XRP community, finding out that, okay, maybe that doesn't so much matter, because one of my favorite YouTubers in the XRP community is a digital asset investor, and that's all he does. And to me, it doesn't even matter anymore. It's more like just that initial thing. So, but anyway, the point being, I do think I want to at some point up the production quality a little bit, and so I'm going to do that. Luckily, I do have an okay microphone. I'm sure I'd upgrade this at some point too, but I got one of those Blue Yetis. If anybody that's out there that does anything on YouTube will know what that is. It's kind of like the standard. if you saw a picture, if you Google Blue Yeti, you'll be like, oh yeah, that's in every YouTuber's video ever. It's very very widespread. But and I'm always going to edge closer to like try and do things better as I master my craft, or as close to it as I can get, so to speak, anyway. And so I thought I'd show you something just to kind of poke a little fun at myself, because you may notice, okay, thumbnails. Thumbnails are what's supposed to get people's attention. When you're on your phone or you're on your computer and you're trying to decide which video you want to click on, thumbnails are like a major factor. And by default, YouTube will select 3 random images from your video that you can click on. You can choose one of those to upload as the little cover photo, the thumbnail that will advertise your video for you. And you also have an option of creating your own and uploading it. And ever since my second video, I've been uploading custom ones ever since, because I understand that is actually important. But here's the part where it's time to make fun of me. I've made all of mine in Microsoft Paint. I am not a graphics guy, so look at this. I thought I'd just flip through some of these for the fun of it, because it's terrible. Like, look here, like I had this image here and I didn't even crop it properly, and it says, like, this, I took this from like an article and I cropped it, and then it's got part of the date in there still. And then, yeah, look at this. And you know what the terrible thing about this is, on top of just how bad they look? Okay, they weren't all properly sized even, necessarily. And they took a really, 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 really long time to make, Yeah, and so that's just some of them anyway. But yeah, so I finally, a few videos ago, and I'm not great at this yet, but I started using proper software to get properly sized thumbnails, and hopefully they'll look a little bit better, because I am just not a graphics guy. I'm just a guy that happens to really be enthralled by this whole crypto space. I find it really exciting. It's a lot more exciting than my day job, and I mean, I own my own company, and I'm saying that. I mean, I sell commodities essentially. So, so this is a lot more on like the cutting edge and a lot more interesting to me. But not that, I mean, I love what I do. Don't get me wrong, but anyway, so I thought I'd just kind of share that with you and tell you a little bit about where I see things moving forward. And again, I don't know when I'll set up a little home studio office or when I'll actually get a proper camera, but I want to do that. I do want to do that. And I don't know if that means that it would be my face on like the screen the whole time, or maybe it'll just be on the corner like I see some YouTubers do, like Thinking Crypto. I'm a big fan of his, and he does that where he's got like his little face in the corner there. And other YouTubers do too. There's all sorts of awesome XRP content out there. So anyway, before I get into the content, which I'm going to do, I know I talked about non-content for so long, but I just had to because it was the 50th video. But I just want to send out a very genuine thanks to anyone that's ever listened to any of my videos, whether it's one video or if you've been listening to me for months, whatever it is. Just know that I genuinely appreciate the support, and especially given that I know how many incredible XRP content providers there are out there. And so the fact that any small number of people would listen to me, like, it really means a lot to me. So thank you so much, and I always appreciate comments and thoughts and all the support, of course. So that being said, even if the channel stays small forever, that's perfectly fine because I like what I'm doing. It's a fun hobby on the side, and I'm going to keep doing it. So there we are. Okay. All right. Now into the content of the video, and I'm happy that I get to report on something like this on my 50th video ever. This is from Cointelegraph.com from several hours ago today, 5 hours ago today. Japan, 13 banks invest in SBI's Ripple-powered blockchain payment app. And I remember reading about this. It was before I had started my YouTube channel. I checked another article, which I'm going to bring up here in a second, but this was announced back in October of 2018. All right, so here's the initial part right here at the top of the piece. Blockchain payment app MoneyTap, co-developed by Ripple and Japanese financial services giant SBI Holdings, has received investments from 13 local banks, according to an SBI press release published on March 28th. And this is cool. I love seeing this stuff. And, you know, I went back. So, again, here's the first article where it was ever discussed. October 4th, 2018 is titled, Financial Giant SBI and Ripple Launch Blockchain Payment App in Japan. And if you scroll down here, you'll see, and this is a pertinent part, according to earlier announcements, MoneyTap will eventually see a consortium of 61 Japanese banks, representative of more than 80% of all of Japan's banking assets, participate in the service. And so again, that's Japan explicitly here. And this particular app, that's the only country in which it works. I don't know if they're going to expand specifically that app, or if perhaps their plan is to have similar type apps in different companies with different names. I'm not 100% clear on that. It may just be with this consortium, that's all the only place MoneyTap is ever going to be. So this technology, as stated in both articles, uses xCurrent, which is the messaging portion of Ripple's technology, essentially, just in a nutshell. It says, MoneyTap, which was designed to quickly transfer money via a mobile app using Ripple's blockchain solution xCurrent, will reportedly receive investments from other Japanese financial institutions later this year. According to SBI Holdings, the banks using the solutions are going to cooperate to enable domestic bank-to-bank transfers. So here's the cool thing about this. This is going to be a really long process. As Brad Garlinghouse has stated, what is this stated? We're taking the first steps in what is essentially a marathon. I'm probably terribly paraphrasing that, but it was something to that effect. We've taken a first step in a marathon. And there's a lot of rails that need to be laid. But I can certainly envision a world where there's all sorts of different geographic regions. Again, this is just Japan here, but you could have a similar app in any other country that uses a different fiat currency, either entirely or predominantly. And then you could have these separate apps, or maybe it would be the same app. I don't know if it would just be whatever. Maybe it would be MoneyTap. I don't know. But everything would be able to connect. You can have instant cross-border payments, you as a user, using your phone, using your smartphone. And The cool thing about this ultimately what this does, we're talking about the adoption of XRP, of course, but also adoption of the cryptocurrency asset class as a whole, because XRP needs to be used to do this. And as we like you and I listening here and me speaking, I'm assuming that we're both heavily into XRP, or else why are you? I'm guessing that's mostly what I talk about, right? And so the reason that you and I buy it, well, maybe you have your own different reasons, but probably a big part of it is what Ripple is doing to build on the XRP ledger. And we're buying because we see businesses are going to need XRP to function, right? Fair enough point. Well, this is when we're seeing articles like this, it helps the asset class to thrive, because that just gives people like me that much more confidence. And you can imagine announcements like this playing out, year over year over year. And as these developments happen, though, then in kind, end users are going to be able to continue to have quicker payments. In this case, of course, it's with Xcurrent, so maybe these payments, since they're in the same currency, maybe it is essentially instant, at least from the user perspective, one would think, right? But when you're talking cross borders, you can see people across the world connecting once you layer Xrapid, which uses XRP, right on top of Xcurrent. And that's where this is all heading, and that's one of the things that I think is so cool about it. And so crypto is here to stay. I suspect XRP is also here to stay. That's what I'm most excited about, and that's what I'm interested in. So that's where I keep putting a little bit of my money, just a little bit. I'm still regularly buying. But that's really all I wanted to cover today. And guys, it's Friday. Have a fantastic weekend coming up here. I am going to go and walk my dog. You know what I do? One of my favorite things to do? When it's nice out, and I'm in the Midwest, so we only have good weather for part of the year. We have such a thing as snow here at times. But when it is nice out, I love to walk my dog, pop in the AirPods, and listen to XRP YouTubers. That's constantly what I'm doing. And when I'm driving, seriously, if I'm not doing, if I don't have to do something with my hands, if I could just sit there and listen and it's downtime, that's what I'm doing, because this is so fun to me. So anyway, if you've got any thoughts or want to share anything, feel free to comment below. I read every single comment. If I miss one, it's a genuine mistake, but I try and actually watch that, and then I respond every time I can. Unless you write something ridiculously vulgar, in which case I'm just going to be like, yeah. And then it's just assume if you do that, I'm rolling my eyes when I read it. So, all right. Well, anyway, thanks so much, guys. That's all I got for you. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea.